What's up, guys? Stephen Villabona here, broker of PADLAB Real Estate here in Scottsdale, Arizona. Just wanted to jump on here real quick and do a tutorial of getting started with Skyslope Suite and Skyslope Forms. So if you are in our brokerage, just check your emails for the password login for your account. If you don't have it, then just go ahead and email me and I'll get it over to you. But let's jump right on in and get started. So today I just want to show you how to just create forms, some e-signatures from your clients, add some details in there, create a transaction, stuff like that, so that you can get going and hopefully not have any hiccups along the path of just putting transactions in and doing deals. So let's go. First, we're going to go to skyslope.com. And once you get to this window, you're going to go to login, and you always want to start with Suite. So once we get into here, this is going to be your main dashboard. You can search your deals right here at the top by either the agent name, MLS number, address. So right here, I have one scheduled closing, I have 3 active listings, I have 1 pending, and I have 3 closed. So these are all the recent transactions right here below that you can kind of just pick which one. So these are my 3 listings right here. This one's obviously just an example. And then these are actual transactions. So transactions are pretty much when the deal gets executed, whether it's a rental or a buyer lead or even a listing that then transforms into a transaction from a listing. So right here, and then these are form files. So in Skyslope, you have essentially 2 different areas. You have the Skyslope Suite, which is where all the transactions live, and that's where you're going to upload all your documents. And then the other side of it is Skyslope Forms, and that's essentially where you're going to create all your forms. And then they have Digisign, which is their e-sign signature platform. So that's partnered up here with all your form files. So you can see right here in this window, you have all the form files that I've created, and then all the Digisign envelopes. So whenever you put documents together and send them out to clients to sign, that's what's called an envelope. So you can do as many envelopes as you need to within one form file. So yeah, let's start right here. So from the beginning, let's say we have a buyer and they want to write an offer. You're always going to want to start in the forms file first. Don't create a transaction first, because then the form file and the transaction file is not going to be connected. That's just the way Skyslope runs. So you always want to create the form file first, add the documents, and then once you do that, then you can go and create a transaction and connect those 2 together, so that whenever your clients sign documents, you can retrieve them in the transaction. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. But recent form files here. So let's go ahead and I've never done it this way. I'll be honest with you. I haven't clicked on one of these. So let's go ahead and just try to write an offer and see what happens. Okay, so now it just kind of kicked me out. Maybe I need to log back in so that it'll take me to the forms. Okay, that's exactly what it did. So it took me over to the forms area. The other option that you can do, let's go back out here. So you can just click onto the apps thing. So if you click on Skyslope, that's where all the transactions are. So that's where we just were in the beginning in the suite. So instead of clicking on write an offer here, you could just go to the apps and go to forms, and that'll take you to the same window. You're going to want to just click create. But as you can see here, these are all of my files that I've created. And so I just create one for each address, each client. If you don't have a property for a buyer that, say they're just writing an offer, I would just maybe start with their last name. These are all pretty much done deals, so I have addresses for them already. But you're going to want to just go ahead and create a new document. Who is the client? It's going to be a buyer. And let's just say it's John Smith at email.com. Let's just put 1, 2, 3, 4 just in case there's somebody that's actually there. So import MLS data is awesome. If there's a property that you are looking at, let's go to the MLS real quick and let's just write an offer on one of my listings. So my listing is 11212 Nebraska. So right here. So this is my listing in Youngtown. So we're going to have John Smith write an offer on our listing here. So I take the MLS number, jump back into forms, and is there a property yet? You can either just type in the address if there's no MLS, but more than likely there will be. So you just put in the MLS number, it'll pull it up, click on it, import, and now it'll put all the data in here. And this is how you name the file. Remember, once again, if you're writing an offer, you can just put your client's name here, Smith or John Smith, 2024 purchase, whatever you want to name it. But my naming convention, what I've been typically doing is just doing the address, Nebraska, and then just doing hyphen, well, whoever the client's last name is. That's what I typically do. If you click on here, it'll just put the address as the name, or if you click here, it'll put the primary. I kind of do a combination of the both, obviously. So 11212 Nebraska hyphen Smith. And then from here, dependent on what representation you are, it'll know what forms you're going to need, like what brokerage template you're going to need. So obviously this is a buyer, so it knows that we need the purchase documents for this transaction. So we're going to click on that. Obviously, we're not going to need listing documents for a buyer, or we're not going to need rental applications for a buyer because, you know, they're buying. So purchase documents, and we've already pre-populated most of the forms that we think that you'll need here on behalf of the brokerage. So anything else, your account should already be connected to our MLS, so you can just access the libraries and upload any more documents that you need. So we're going to go ahead and create that form file. So now we've created a form file for this buyer for this property. So these are all the forms that populated from that template that we think that you might need during this transaction. So you got the residential purchase contract, a counteroffer, addendums, HOA addendums. What is this one? This is the Red A, buyer advisory, market conditions, wire fraud. So what you will do is pretty much just start selecting the ones that you're going to want to pre-fill out to then send to your client for signature. Now, if there are some other documents, usually in our MLS, people will upload the HOA document, the SPUDs, the seller's disclosures, maybe lead-based paint. So if you have those in the MLS here, if we go to the MLS in the Documents tab, you can see those are the 3 documents that are already provided by the listing agent. So you'll just download those, and you'll come into Forms here, and you'll upload them right here in this button, Upload Documents, and they'll show up here. And then you just select the ones that you want to fill out right now. So this, and that's pretty much it right now. And then like the HOA, lead-based paint, anything else, you'll select them. So I have 4 forms selected now. And what we're going to do is we're going to fill them out so that we can send them to our client to sign. So managing the forms, this is where you want to start filling out things. So John Smith, you'll put the seller's name in here. So you need his first, last name, and that's really it. And then you'll save it, and legal description. Obviously, you guys, I'm not going to run through, the proper etiquette on filling out a purchase contract, but you go through here and fill out all of this stuff, what you need to do, all the terms that you want, right? We got our preferred vendor right there for title, but just go ahead and go through the entire list. Obviously, you can see right here, none of the signature fields are filled out because we're going to do that after in the next step. So right now we're just going to fill out all the forms properly with all the terms that we want, make sure that our information is correct here, make sure that the listing agent's information is correct, and then you just continue on. So now we're in the next form, the real estate agency and election. So buyer, and then for my agents here at PADLAB, you always want to select box 48 and box 50 because we're representing a buyer as the buyer's broker, but we're also showing buyers properties that could potentially be listed with our brokerage. What is that called? Dual agency. So we always just want to select those 2 boxes, 48 and 50, and then make sure that right here on line 60 we also select buyer. And notice here, this is a brand new Red A that they just released this year in February. It's 2 pages instead of 1, just kind of goes through more detail about our responsibilities. So there's another initial field right here now, along with the signature at the bottom. So just keep in mind about that. And then buyer advisory, I always like to give my buyers this before really we do anything. So maybe in the initial buyer consultation, that way they can review all this stuff before we start writing offers. It's just best practice because this has a lot of information on there that they need to be aware of when purchasing a home, and any of their due diligence they need to be doing before they buy a home. So it's good information to get them at that initial buyer consultation. Don't have them sign this after you've already been in contract when it's too late for them to really research and learn about all these other things here. So I'm sending this off to them, and they would just have 2 signatures here. So we filled it all out, right? And then the last form here is the market conditions advisory, just stating that we don't control the market and it is cyclical, goes up and down. It is impossible to accurately predict what the real estate and financial market conditions will be at any given time. And so this is just them accepting and understanding that advisory. So we're going to go ahead and click prepare signature. And this is where we can determine who's going to be signing during this signing session. Right now, we only have one buyer. It's John Smith. So right here, we're going to go ahead and select, and he needs to sign this. And then if afterwards, say we have the listing agent or another party here, or say me as the buying agent, I want to receive a copy after he's done signing, then I'll do that. This envelope name, my naming convention here, I'll usually just do the property address and then what this envelope pertains to. So this is purchase offer 1. So we're writing an offer on this property. Maybe the next time that I send them an envelope, it'll be like the Binzer, or maybe it's addendum 2, right? Just name it accordingly to what documents they're signing during this envelope. And there might be multiple documents in there, so you can maybe say Red A, pre-qual, and counter offer 2. So stuff like that, but this is going to be purchase offer 1. So needs to sign and then receives a copy, right? And then everyone else, no action. So next. So now we're going to go into the next step, which is actually creating the signatures and preparing it to send out for e-sign. And once again, remember, this is all done through the forms section of Skyslope. So it just pushed us over now to Digisign. So it went from the forms to Digisign very seamlessly. And so now we have the 4 documents here on the top left of all the documents that we're having them sign during this session. These are the recipients right here. So John Smith is signing first, and then Stephen Villabona, me, will receive a copy. Now, if you forgot to add somebody, you can go ahead and go here to the 3 dots, edit recipient, and you can add a new person. So we can do Samantha Smith, and we can do Samantha Smith 4321 at email.com. And we can have her sign at the same time as John in signing group 1, or say we want John to sign first and then we want Samantha to sign second, then we can put her in signing group 2. And when we save it, now look at this. It says who signs first? John Smith. Who signs second? Samantha Smith. Boom. Pretty simple. If we wanted to delete her, I don't know. Oh, we just do it right here. So I'm just going to continue with one person just for this exercise. But that's how you would add somebody after the fact if you didn't add them already in the beginning of the form file. So we're gonna go ahead and delete her. Oh, and then also we can edit, her signing group. Never mind, we want her to sign first with John. So boom, now they're both signing together. I think you might be able to move those around, maybe not. But we're gonna go ahead and delete her, and we're just gonna cancel it and keep it the way it is. This outgoing email section down here is the message that it sends them to sign. So you can edit this now. When you hit send, it's going to ask you to edit this again anyway, but you can just type it now. I usually just do the address, Nebraska, and then purchase offer. So as you can see, this kind of mimics the envelope session. And so sometimes that naming convention for me is pretty similar. I'll just keep it the same as what the envelope is, because this is the email subject line, and it pretty much is just clear cut what it is. So hi John, Please review offer and e-sign. Let me know of any questions or concerns. Thank you. So that's just a general message. Obviously, you make it more personalized the way that you like to. But when you save it, it's already there. So when we hit send, it's done. And then also right here, I haven't used this yet, but they have AI that can edit your message to be professional, friendly, or urgent. So that's pretty cool. Let's do friendly. Didn't do anything differently. Professional. Please review the offer and e-sign. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. So maybe the message is not that long, so it's not really, it doesn't have a lot to work with, but if you had a longer message and you wanted it to change it to be more friendly, maybe it'll be able to change it better. But that's AI, so that's kind of cool. So we're going to cancel that because we're not going to send it yet. I want to show you guys how to add signatures. So Skyslope Forms have already done most of the work in pre-populating where the signature fields are going. The nice thing about this too, if you, in the previous step, if you forgot to check a box or put some text in there, you can do it on this step as well. You see at the top here, this is your toolbox. So signatures, initials, full name. I guess that's just if you want to drop in their full name instead of doing a text field and then having to type it in, you just drop in their name. So I'm going to click on that and then hit delete here on the left. So it's gone. Full name, date, time, checkbox, text field, and strike. So say we forgot to do the seller's names here, so I'm going to do a text field, and then this plus sign lands at the bottom left of the box, so right there. So right now it's blank because no one's filling that out, and it's read only. But say if you wanted your buyer to fill that out, you can uncheck read only and uncheck optional, so now they're forced to fill that out, and that's going to be to John. If there were other people in the signing session, you can drop down menu here and select whoever else you want to take care of that field. And then also same here, same controls. You just drop down here and you can make it read only, optional. So if that's the case right here, like say you forgot to fill this out as the agent and you don't want your clients to fill this out, you do read only, optional, and then you can type in the text here. So seller name is sellerman1, that's his name. Oops. And then I created another box because I clicked over here. So I'm going to delete that. And now we're good. So the only thing here that versus Dotloop, that Skyslope, it doesn't have any font or text editing tools. So you can see, I'm OCD, so you can see that this word is very big. So I would just probably take the top and just drag it down a little bit to make it a little smaller, so that it really fits. And then if that box was still hovering over, I just pressed escape on my keypad to kind of get out of the text field window that I was in. So that's a way to drop in a text field. And then right here you can do check boxes. So we're going to have them do a personal wire. We can drag and drop it. And once again, I just want this checked by default, and I want it to be read only so my client can't mess with it because I forgot to put that in there. So that's kind of the way when you're already in Digisign window, if you forgot to add or some checkboxes or some information in the previous window, to add it in here. But ultimately in this window, all we're trying to do is add the signatures. And once again, because of my OCD, I don't like that the signature is offset to the left. So I will just click on it and drag it in and bring it more to the middle and drag it bigger. And that's that. But since they pre-populated it, whatever, I mean, you can keep it that way. If you're OCD like me, I would click here, Command C, so copy it. I would click on this one, delete it, and then I would click paste, and now it would paste the one that I formed already. So that's just me. You guys do what you want to do. But either way, that's really simple. Say you accidentally delete this one. Oh crap, where do I get this? So you just go to the initials and you just click it down and you're there. Boom. Right? Pretty simple. And then remember right here under lead-based paint, they got to do either or. They're not going to do both of these. In this case, I know that the home was built prior to 1978, so we're going to delete this one. And we forgot to do the boxes, so we're going to do information was provided ahead of time. Oops. There you go. And we're good, we're good. So after reviewing and dropping all the signature fields where you need, everything's done. You got to just double check. Remember, always double check everything. Your information's there, the brokerage information, your contact information, all the boxes are checked. The signature field. The one difference between Skyslope and Dotloop, Dotloop's signature box already has the date at the end. So that's just a little learning curve for us here going into Skyslope, because when you drop in a signature, which date format would you like to set as default? So month, date, year, yes. Finish. So when I add a signature box, just like the one above, it's only going to be the signature. There's no date. So as you can see here on the field, there's also a date field. So we're going to go ahead and add a date there as well. And that's way too big, so I'm going to just shrink it down just a little bit. Looks good. That's it. So you got signature and you got the date and you're ready to go. So purchase contract is all filled out, and real estate agency form, got their initial, got their signature, got their date, buyer advisory, their signature, their date, and signature date. You're done. So that's pretty much it to put together a document for your client to fill out and e-sign. All you got to do now is hit send. Make sure that the message here, the email, subject line is all correct, and then you send it out for signatures. Once you do that, they're going to get an email that says, hey, sign this document. So I'm not going to obviously send it because I don't want it to go to that random email address that I filled out. But you'll see right here in the forms files, so these are the little submenus in this form file. So these are all the forms that we're working with. Here are all the envelopes within this file that I've sent out. So right now it's just a draft, but it would say sent for this envelope. And it'll say what date was sent. And then also, like, if your client says, oh, I don't see it, it's been like 3 days, they still haven't signed it, you want to click here, and you can, there's going to be a button that says send a reminder. And then you just click send a reminder. It'll resend the form file out to them. Once they've signed it, you go over here to sign documents. You'll have all of your documents down here completed. So you can either download them and then email them out to the clients or to the listing agents, or just for your records, if you just want to have copies on your desktop, that's cool too. But you would just go in here to the signed documents. And then the file details, you really wanted to do this first, but you can put, the price in there, so $335, acceptance date, that's only when, you actually get into contract, acceptance and closing date. Otherwise, that's where like all the property information is, and then this is where your contact information is. So if you're adding a spouse or a co-signer, or you just want to put the listing agent in there so that you can email them the documents too, that's where you would put all the contacts for this form file. So if there's a form in here that you don't have and you want to go into the libraries, either the ARMLS or the AAR libraries, you're going to go to add forms. And essentially, these are all the libraries that you can add. So I think for me, I have the AAR, I have the ARMLS, and then we're a part of Flagstaff and White Mountain, so I have those two here. And then PADLAB, we have our own library for some of our brokerage files. So these are all of the forms that are being populated right here. So you can scroll down and see, addendum 1 was already added to that envelope. Say if I needed something else, additional clause addendum, then I can add that there. But anyway, you can kind of see cure period notice. Like if I was going to cure them, then I can add that. So all the documents that you've used in the past, either through ARMLS or AAR forms, should be in here, and you can even search for it too. So anyway, you get the drift though. So if you're looking for a document here, just type it in at the top, or you can just scroll down and kind of peruse all of these documents. I think if you click on it too, it'll open it up so that you can see what form it is, if you want it or not. So that's kind of a nice feature, instead of having to add it and then figure out if you need it or not, because that's the way that Dotloop worked. I didn't really like it. It was inefficient, but you would have to add it go back in and look at it and then see if you needed it. Versus here, you can just click on it real quick and look at, that's not the one that I need. So and just keep going. So that's how you add additional forms into your form file. So we're going to go ahead and view. Okay, so we got these two that we're adding to this file. So I'm going to hit next. Boom, they're at the bottom now right here. So now I can click those two that I need, fill them out, which is going to be creating a new envelope, fill them out, and then I can prepare the signatures. And that's essentially how you use forms. Do you want to save before leaving? Don't display again. Save and exit. See, now it's making me create a new envelope. So Nebraska, cure, notice, and additional clause. So those are the two forms, right? So now we have those two envelopes there that I've created for my clients to sign. And you can, when they're actually sent, you can either cancel them as well. So say you sent it and you're like, okay, never mind. We're not going to send a cure notice. You can just cancel that envelope. And they'll get a notice via email as well. You know, Steven canceled it. But let's go. So that's essentially how to use forms and Digisign. It's pretty easy. Let's go to the apps and go to Skyslope Suite now, because what we want to do is create new transaction. Who are we representing? The buyer. And it's going to pretty much just walk you through. And because we did the form file first, now that form file is showing up right here. If we did the transaction first, we couldn't connect it. And then now the documents that are signed by your clients aren't going to appear in the transaction file, and you'll just have to manually upload them, which is kind of annoying, but it's not the end of the world. But it's just better practice to do the form file first. And then that way here, when you create the transaction, you can select which form file it is so that they're connected. So eventually, I think Skyslope might figure out a way to connect them after the fact, but just learning it now the last month that I've been using it, that's how you do it. So we're going to go ahead and connect it with this form file that we just created today. And it's pre-filling all the information. What office is this for? PADLAB. What property is this? So this is going to be a residential purchase. It's not a residential lease. It's not under contract rental listing or under contract sale listing, because we're representing the buyer, not the sellers. So residential purchase. It's got the MLS number already populated because we connected it to the MLS in the forms file, remember? Year built, if you pull open the window for the listing, all right there, 1959. And then the APN. I like to fill out all this stuff. I just like when things are complete, and I also weirdly like to fill out forms. So we're going to go ahead and just populate everything there. Continue. So contract acceptance day is today. Expected closing, let's just say a month from now. And then escrow number, we're not going to have that quite yet until escrow's opened, but you can go back later and fill that in. And it's nice to kind of have everything complete. You just kind of feel good at the end of the day knowing that everything's where it should be. So sellers, if it's a company, you put in the company name and you select here that it's a trust company or entity. You still have to put in a representative, first name, last name. So who was it was Sellerman. Sellerman 1. Congratulations. It's just one person, right? And then we're going to continue. If there's two people, then you add another seller. But I'm going to go ahead and cancel that because there's only one Sellerman. And if there's another buyer, you can add another buyer here too, or you can edit John Smith's information. So we're going to continue. Contacts. So we got the listing agent, the buying agent, and that's it. Continue. My primary contact on this one, there's no way we can default it. So just select title. That's always going to be the one. And if you have like a default one, it'll usually appear here where we like to use security title, Amanda Gilchrist. So that's already pre-populated. But if not, you can type in, you can delete all this stuff and type in somebody else, Navi title. What's her name? Well, anyway, so all these vendors, as we add them in here over time, it goes into a vendor list. So you don't have to keep typing in their information over and over again. It'll be saved. So I'm trying to remember somebody that we have. Yeah, I mean, and there's some pre-populated ones here. So if I was like Jackie Olson with Grand Canyon, I go boom, and it pre-fills everything for you. So we're going to go ahead and keep Amanda security. Why doesn't Amanda show up? Anyway, so security title, let's just go back. Maria, you're a lucky winner. Hit save. So now it's security title, Maria. Get escrow title started now. I don't do this, but we can explore that, see what that does. We don't fill out escrow or attorneys, just the title, and you can even default it to the contact for the future transactions, which is what I think I did, so that's why Amanda was showing up. Go ahead and hit continue. Does this deal involve a loan officer? You don't have to do all this right now. You can do it after the fact, but if there is a loan officer, go ahead and fill that stuff out. Is there a transaction coordinator? No. Did this listing come from a referral agent? If it's a referral, then say yes. If not, no. And then sale commission, we are offering 2.5. And then the listing commission doesn't matter because I'm not on the listing side, but if you know that information, you can put it in if you want. And any other deductions or commission notes here. So for our brokerage, if you are going to be offering buyer credits from your commission, put it here. There's also a section in after the fact that you can put it in as well for our for the end of the transaction. But if you know already what you're going to be contributing, put it here. Otherwise, just skip that and then keep going, continue. Will your brokerage hold earnest money? So here at PADLAB, for all of our agents, no, we will never hold earnest money. So just put no there and don't do anything else. Create transaction, bada bing, bada boom. Let it do its thing. And this, my friends, is essentially the transaction kind of window. So as you can see right here, you got the transaction details. Right here, you got this very nice window that shows, the acceptance date, the year, the escrow number, the parties, the seller, the buyer, and the close of escrow. So all of that information is kind of right there, easily accessible. And we are in pretty much the main window, the checklist. The checklist is what you're going to do to complete uploading all of your files throughout the deal. So all the ones that are required are the ones that are required by our brokerage, and anything else if applicable. So if the property has an HOA, this particular property does not, but then if it does, you would just attach it here and then right below that. So that's all the sale documentation. Then we have another folder for all your reports. It's not required, but I do highly recommend if you have any of the reports, upload them here, because I think it's awesome to be able to look back at a transaction when you're talking to a client like 2 years down the road and they're like, hey, I don't remember if this or that. Hold on one sec. I actually have all the documents here. I uploaded in my system, so I can just pull it up real quick, the inspection report, and see what they said. So I like to just put them there so we have it. If you have it in your desktop or your files, that's fine too. But go ahead and do that. And then the closing documents here is just for the administrative side of things. The one thing that I'm still working on with Skyslope is that these are all the fields that you as the agents have access to. So say there's an additional document, like you're buying the furniture also, so it's a bill of sale. There's not really a field for that. So I think what we're going to do at the end is just add miscellaneous fields, like maybe 3 or 4, and that's where you would throw all those miscellaneous documents into, and then you would just type here, miscellaneous. This is like the, what was it? Bill of sale, furnishings, right? And then you would hit save, and that would be it. Obviously, I'm not going to put it here, but I'm saying there would be additional fields below for miscellaneous files. So we're going to hit cancel. So the way to upload documents all your documents are going to be here in this Documents tab. So whenever your signed documents are completed in Digisign, they will appear here because we have it connected. So you can go into your documents, you can click on a document, and then you can assign it to whatever slot you want. In this case, I don't have a lot, so I'm going to just go ahead and upload documents here. So let's go to desktop and let's just upload this one. Yeah, I mean, I have so many so many example documents. So this is like a lease that I have for some of my clients. So I'm going to open it here. I'm going to upload it here. So now I have the lease agreement. I can look at it. I can split the document. I can rename it. I can rotate it. So I'm going to click it here, and I'm going to assign it to the purchase contract because it's the same thing, right? Once it's done, now you can see the the paperclip. It is assigned. If I want to get rid of it, I can click there and then unassign it. Also, you can go to the checklist, and now you can see the nice thing about Skyslope is that it already submits it for broker review once you've attached it. So you don't have to, like in Dotloop, you have to attach it, then you got to click the button that says submit for review. A lot of people forget that. It's one less step. So now it's in review. If you're like, oh crap, that's not the one that I wanted to do, you can hover over the paperclip, and just a window will pop up, and you can kind of review it and see all the information. And you're like, oh crap, that's not the one that I wanted. Or you can click on the paperclip, and it'll actually pull it up in a separate window. So either hover and wait for a second, and it'll pop up, or you can click. But that's not the one that I want. I'm going to go ahead and X that out. Never mind. I'm going to remove that. That's the wrong one. So that's essentially how you use the Skyslope checklist. And this is pretty much where you're going to upload all of your documents. And say you have a bunch of documents that got emailed to you and you don't want to download them and then re-upload them. You can literally just forward it to this email. Oops. You can literally just forward it to the email right here, and it'll all populate. As long as there are attachments on that email, it'll all populate in here, and then you can start assigning them there. Otherwise, if you have, like, say they emailed you the earnest money from escrow and you got it on your desktop right here, earnest money, just hit attach and just drag it and drop it in here, or you can click here and upload and then open it in your file somewhere and open it, and then it'll be uploaded into that field. So I'm going to hit click cancel right there. So that's essentially how you do that. Once I review it as the broker, I will either approve it or I will kick it back and say incomplete, and then I'll put notes right in here that says, hey, you're missing signatures on line 1, 2, and 3, fix that. And that's pretty much it. So it's pretty straightforward, but just going through these tabs at the top. Transaction, once again, is all the details for the transaction. So just go through each one of these and make sure they're all complete, please. When you get the escrow number, put the escrow number in there. And contacts, this is where you can add the loan officer later after the fact. So you got your seller information. Say there's a new seller, you can add a new seller, but we're not going to do that. And then you just keep going next. So the next one down here is the purchaser. Next. Now this is the title company. Next. Now we got the agent representing the other side. So that's always nice to put their information in there. Next. Now the lender. So if you don't have, so right now we always use Jerry with, come on. Not do anything? Okay. All right then. I guess that didn't do anything. Well, anyway, you should be able to search contacts for like any lenders that you already have in the system. If there's a home warranty, as the transaction gets closer to the end, then you could put the home warranty information there. And this is just, this not necessary at this point, but it's great to have all this info if you ever have to go back to your files and say your client needs some information, they forgot, who the lender was, what home warranty company they had. It's nice to have that information as their representative to say, hey, I got you. I have it all saved in my system here. So as we continue on from contacts, you got the commission tab. This is essentially where you will lay everything out. So the commission for this deal is $8,300. And right here, if it's just you, that's fine. So Steven, Villabona, I'm getting 100%. Okay, so the amount right there is $8,375, so $8,375. Otherwise, you know, you can say paying $400 transaction fee to Mauricio Gastelum. So you can put that on here, Mauricio Gastelum, and then $400. Right. You don't have to do the math on that. We'll do it on the back end in our book system, but this is just like where your breakdowns are, so you can save the comment, and we'll be able to see it on the admin side so that we can make your CDI accordingly, your commission disbursement and instruction accordingly. So if you have more concerns about us seeing that note, just give us a call or shoot us an email. And then that's pretty much it. So that is the transaction. So you click on the logo right back here at the top, and it'll take you back to the window. And that's essentially where it is. If you have a listing, do the same thing. You go into Forms, fill out all the documents first, and then you can create a new listing. So I just want to end it here because it's a lot of information already, but this at least gets you started creating transactions, creating forms, sending forms for e-signature to your clients. Put in the comments on this video if you have any other questions, and I'll walk you through, and I can make other parts of this series, Skyslope training videos, if you guys need it. So, but at least this gets you started. Thanks a lot, everybody. Like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.